Welcome to Fusion Fiction. Join us as we explore the limitless boundaries of imagination, bringing you captivating stories that unfold with every episode. Let your ears be the canvas where characters come to life, plots twist and turn, and emotions resonate long after the final word. Immerse yourself in the magic of storytelling with Fusion Fiction on Spotify with your host Madhulika Rajwahan, where genres blend seamlessly and every episode promises a new discovery. Tune into Fusion Fiction's Episode 5, The Heavenly Alphonso. Ever wondered what secrets lie beneath the polished facade? Meet Amla Braganza, an embalmist with an uncanny gift for hearing the final whispers of the deceased. Her meticulous craft conceals a rare sensitivity that sets her apart. What happens when a deceased person's final secrets collide with the living? Can one woman's professional distance withstand the weight of a profound personal revelation? Do tune in on the 5th of September on Spotify and YouTube to find out. The Heavenly Alphonso. Amla, Miss Amla Braganza, as people called her, had been used to her work by now. It had been more than a decade since it all started. Initially, when she started, she had been shocked, frightened and unsettled. But not anymore. She did not find the morbidity oblique anymore. In fact, she had started enjoying it. It kind of made her the best in the embalming business. She distinctly remembered the very first time she had taken up the work, at the behest of the priest of the village, after her father passed away. She was rather reluctant at first, but then the prudence of running the hearth took over. This will give you the money you need while keeping you in the village, he had suggested. The early days were marked by fear and confusion. Amla discovered that she possessed a rare sensitivity to the presence of the deceased. She could hear their final words, sense their emotions, and see glimpses of their past lives. Gifts that were both extraordinary and burdensome. The village priest advised her to keep this gift a secret. A piece of advice she followed with a mix of relief and frustration. Years of practice had honed her skills, and she became renowned for her meticulous work. Yet, her gift remained a closely guarded secret, known only to herself and the departed. Maintaining a professional distance had become a protective shield, one that kept her isolated from the emotional weight of her work. She did not know it then, but she was more than qualified for the job. She would see things others weren't meant to see, listen to what others couldn't hear or did not want to hear, feel what people could not even fathom. Her role was more than just a job. It was a blend of art and empathy. She had learned to balance her professional responsibilities with her personal insights, a task that often left her grappling with moral dilemmas. She helped her clients showcase the best side even in their last moments, know their secrets which no one would ever care to know. So when this one started to chat, Amla kept herself quiet for the first few seconds. It usually took them time to kind of recalibrate themselves. She had learned from experience. "It can't be," he said, his voice rather hoarse with surprise and weariness. "Well, it is," she answered. "Who are you? How can you hear me?" His confusion was evident. "I can. That's all I know. Even I can't answer your how," she replied, picking up a tweezer to pluck a stray hair from his brow. "Wow, I never did that all my life," he stated, sounding a little alarmed. "You mean the makeup? Or—" "The makeup, of course," he replied rather promptly. "There's always a first time," she replied, keeping the tweezer in the tray. "So how did I get here?" he asked, resuming the initial line of questioning. Your father got you here, and your family too. Why? To get ready. For your final journey, she replied, ruminating over her choice of base foundation that would match his skin tone. Top it was. Picking up the makeup brush with soft animal fur bristles, she dabbed an ample amount of dry powdered foundation to work on his face. The foundation made him look slightly refreshed, though it was a little cakey. So tell me, what really happened? When? He asked, rather confused. Sorry for sounding so curt, but something must have happened, right, for you to be here with me? She recounted, brushing the extra powder off his face. That sounds right, but I'm not sure what really happened. I was sleeping, I suppose, now, and I'm here. It happens to some, Amla said, recalling a man who had a hard time understanding it, as he had just slept through it. What are you looking for, though? Not sure, said the man. There is usually something, some unfinished business, something which is holding you back, she stated rather casually, checking the color of lipstick which would go with his skin tone. Beige it was. The quietude of the room had made sure their conversation went on unhindered. It was a rather bare room with pristine white walls, mourning the absence of any hint of human habitation. Only a snivelling, swilling chair and a movable casket, and a beaming lamp beckoning light on the face. How much does it make? He asked, rather unsure. For me or for you? For me? It varies, I guess. Depends on how you have lived your life. Amla replied rather dispassionately, continuing to spread the color on his dry lips. I want to know how I came here. I was supposed to leave. He paused, trying to concentrate, his voice beginning to sound a little urgent with desperation. Leave in the moment and take a flight. It was an important visit, a momentous one, if I may say so. Why was it so important? It was for us, my wife and me. She had planned the vacation. We were planning to celebrate our anniversary, our 15th. You see, my wife and I had been through a rough patch for the last few years, he continued as she outlined the lining of his lips. My brother duped us and took my part of my property. I was forced to leave my parental house and move far away. My wife decided to stay and take care of the orchards we had. Alphonso mangoes, his voice moving smoothly, showing the fondness for his orchard. They were the best in the area, you see. After toiling hard and carrying on with a separated existence for a long 8 years, we were finally meeting. I was moving back to celebrate my homecoming, and we had planned the vacation. We were going to Mauritius, our first overseas visit ever. Maybe you had a weak heart, or maybe sudden attack or something. It happens sometimes, Amla suggested, fixing the black bow tie. He looked rather dapper. No, can't be. I was fit. In fact, I had done most of my tests done. You know the sort, lipid profile and all. I was fit, they told me. Don't think too much. You'll know in good time and people will talk about it. Just wait till the service, Mr. Rodrigues. Amla reassured him. They will perhaps come in an hour to fetch you. Will you come? He asked rather hesitatingly and abruptly. It was perhaps the first time he was talking to a stranger. There was a pause. Amla did not reply immediately. She drank some water kept in the thermos nearby. I usually don't. You see, I've seen it always better to keep a professional distance. Amla replied calmly. But what if I'd like to say something? Please consider this as my last request. Okay, I'll think. Though I don't think your family will think it'll be appropriate. But I'll certainly try. Amla agreed, knowing fully well she would have to stay away. He always had. It had helped her keep her secret. It's almost time. I'll give some final touches and you'll be perfect. I must say, I've never looked so perfect all my life. I look almost like my brother, that scoundrel. he responded rather sourly. That's okay, I guess. It hardly matters now, he huffed. Amla smiled, taking in a deep breath. The doorbell rang and she kept her brush aside to walk over and check. She quickly glanced at the watch. They were a little early, but she had been fast enough. We are Mrs. and Mr. Rodriguez. We have come to take the casket, they announced as Amla opened the door. Amla nodded, her mind racing. The resemblance was undeniable, and she felt a pang of sympathy for Mr. Rodriguez's unspoken sorrow as she wheeled the casket outside. Oh, you'll be wondering, I'm sure, interrupted the lady, Mrs. Rodriguez. The one who passed away was my husband's brother. A scoundrel, really, if you believe me. God rest his soul. He passed away just the night before we, my husband and I, were supposed to leave for a vacation. But that's another matter now. We can go after a few days, right, honey? She rattled off, her voice rather squeaky from sharing her well-rehearsed version. Right, the man nodded, forcing a smile at his wife's words. She was holding his hands like new lovers do. I'll get the casket, Amla suggested, still awed. Amla walked in the bare room and wheeled the casket out. No words were exchanged as she left the room. We'll take it from here. We have help. You've done a good job, the man Mr. Rodriguez stated. The resemblance was uncanny. No one could be sure, perhaps. Amla looked into the man's eyes as he looked back steadily into hers. It was the same face she had been working on, barring the fact that rigor mortis had set in one of them. We've got something for you, remarked the lady rather cheerily, handing her a brimming casket of Alphonsos. They're the best in the area. I and my husband, she said, squeezing the man's hand, loved them and have nurtured them together for last 8 years. But that's my brother and my wife, remarked the man in the casket. Amla chose not to answer. The truth was a heavy burden, one she was not prepared to share. Instead, she took a deep breath, savoring the aroma of the golden mangoes, a final bittersweet reminder of the life she had. As the couple left, Amla stood at the doorstep, watching them drive away. The sun beat down, casting long basket and inhaling its fragrant sweetness. Oh, the heavenly Alphonsos, she murmured, a smile touching her lips. For a moment, the weight of her secret lifted, replaced by the fleeting sense of peace.